Welcome back. Maurice Bay, Moorish American. Just dropping in to finish off part two of Moorish Divine and National Movement. Force to make changes. This is part two of part one. I want to read slowly and go through it. As I sit down and I see the things that's going on around the world. All of the hatred, in and out of the Union State Society. It breaks my heart to see how people so against each other on all levels, and being used as pawns in the game. A lot of people are pawns in the game. You can look at your music industry, you can look at the movie industry, any industry, any industry. It don't make no difference what industry it is. Like I tell you, corporations are dead bodies. That's what it is. That's what a corporation is. It's a dead body, a shell of a company, orchestrated by members and CEOs and presidents and people put in place to carry out agendas and policies. Moorish Americans, I want y'all to listen up, follow the channel, subscribe to the channel. I have so much to cover. We're going to cover even things and, dealing with trust. You know what I mean? Orchestrating trust, setting up trust. I'm going to cover that. I'm going to cover things on how to establish, certain documents in order to be able to, get your business right. Putting everything inside of your trust. You know what I mean? For you people who don't know, we're going to cover UCC down the line. Filing the UCCs, where to file at. We're going to cover updating your status, and putting people on notice, registering your, yourself, as and putting them on notice, letting them know that, you know what I'm saying, you have a nationality. But until you update that and until you let them know, you know what I'm saying, I put them on notice, you know what I mean, you're going to be underneath a corporation, underneath the 14th Amendment as a / person, which is a corporation, which is association, and all of the rest, the above, all fictitious entities, dead corporations. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead on and start off with the book. This one probably not going to be as long as the first video, but we're going to read. This is the bedroom talk. This is the talk that I do, amongst my siblings, my children, my significant other. The people that I care about. So, I'm just trying to do my part and, giving you as much of the prophet's information as possible from the studies that I have studied and from following, different grand sheiks, like I said, when I got into anything about knowing anything about Moors or Moorish or anything about that, and the blood lineage and the connection, the origins, the pedigree, I didn't I wasn't associated with any other Moors telling me this. I ran across Noble Drew Ali's work, and when I did that, You know what I mean? I started to read, his work, and as I read his work, I started to read more of the work that came from Noble Drew Ali, either who Noble Drew Ali taught, or who he was affiliated with, and what he did. Once I started, watching his life, and knew about, when people put me on game and showed me this information, and I've been heavily on this information for a couple of years. So I was able to file my status, get my status correction, what I'm saying, put myself you know uh, in the path of prosperity. What I'm saying is that being knowledgeable of nationality, you know what I mean, and things like that, and how to move and things like that, and your paperwork, and your declarations, and sending it off to the provost marshal, putting everybody on notice, the dossier, all of that. I did all of that. I had to do all of that. You know what I'm saying? With your green registered mail. You know what I mean? When you sending it off and you get your cards back in the mail and all of it come back signed and all of that. That's the steps you got to take to put these people, on notice. But as I look around the world and I see the things that's going on in the world, and it's a lot of hatred. There's a lot of people really don't care. You know what I mean? They're driven by the Federal Reserve notes. You know what I mean? And like I tell everybody, they can freeze that at any time. Because they created it. You can only control what you created. You know what I mean? You created your children, so you can control that. Whatever you control, you can create. I mean, you can whatever you create, you can control. You know what I mean? So you already know. They created the Federal Reserve notes, so it's not your FRN notes. We ain't even gonna say money because it's not money. It's a coupon. It's y'all gotta study what this is that y'all spending every day, because these people are looking at you to be experts when you're using the Federal Reserve note. They look at you as an expert. So that means that you've been using this for years, and therefore, if you don't know how to use it, you know what I'm saying, whatever comes with it, you know what I mean, and and I tell people, we always got to look into the discharge and offset, you know what I mean, process, because you're basically paying for your debts twice, so Noble Drew Ali, you know what I mean, I love him. I love Noble Drew Ali from the bottom of my heart, you know what I mean, regardless to people want what people say, there's a lot of Europeans trying to cover this whole blood lineage up. You understand? You gotta understand. We know y'all. Your history. We know your history. We know our history. We know other people's history. So it's like you stand up there and you lie to these people about the history, and you make all these histories and all this fabrication and all that. You look like fools, because we know better. You know what I mean? They look like fools because we know better. Now, as we came into the knowledge and we came into the information, I can't say that we knew better back then, because we didn't know. You know what I'm saying? Certain generations didn't know this information. You know what I'm saying? Like the people who was enslaved inside of, who were Moors and who knew who they were, those people knew who they were. You know what I'm saying? It didn't happen until all of the generations down the line, until, these Europeans started, slaving people, and, all the presidents, you know what I'm saying, were slave owners, and, all of that. You know what I mean? So it's just that these people think that you dumbfounded, and that you would never wake up, and that you would never understand what's going on. So now that you understand what's going on, you need to start putting liens on these people. You need to start suing these people. You need to start going after these people bonds. You need to start going after their families, their their estates, their, what I'm saying, things that they try to hide, and you know what I mean, and all of this stuff, you know what I mean, and it's just, and all of this stuff. The trip part about it is the United States Union Society is a small corporation compared to the people who's putting all of these different things in place. They rebelled against Britain, you know what I'm saying, and wanted their independence, you know what I'm saying, the British, you know what I mean, and they wanted their independence, but it's a hypocrite to want your independence and then turn around and slave people through contractual slavery, and then they don't know, so because there's a lot of adhesions to these contracts, right? So they don't know what's going on. They don't even know what an adhesion is. You know what I'm saying? So now you take the chains off of them and then you put them in a contract slavery. Right? You people are hypocrites, man. So I tell people, learn how to, sue people, learn how to, do your affidavits, learn the things that you need to learn to free yourself, taking your cases out of certain jurisdictions. You know what I'm saying? Learn how to free yourself. You have to read the work. You know what I mean? They expect you to know this stuff. You know what I'm saying? So study jurisprudence. You know what I mean? Study all that you can get your hands on that can help you. You know what I'm saying? Like the prophets say, you're going to make these people tell the truth. And they're telling you the truth. So, in many ways, you just got to know what to look for, when to catch it, when they're speaking about all this stuff. You know what I'm saying? But I don't want to have nothing to do with these people, to be honest with you. You know what I'm saying? I don't want to have nothing to do with European, you know what I'm saying, people who are habitual liars and imposters to a land that they ravaged, conquered, and continuing to kill the real Americans who are the ancestral indigenous heirs of the land. You know what I'm saying? Like, I was reading, we was over 100 million tribal. When they came and did the Columbian Exchange, a lot of those people died because of the diseases and the plagues that these people brought over here. You know what I'm saying? It's all in the history. Like, it's there. You know what I mean? It's just that some people can't read. You know what I'm saying? They can't, they read on the surface. They don't know how to go find the root. And everything you want to crack, anything you want to know, anything, go to the root of it. You want to know about, what's going on and how, to do certain things, go to the root. You got to study these websites. You got to study what's going on. You got to study the titles. The Uniform Commercial Code. You have to study all of this stuff because it's all coded. You know what I'm saying? It's right there in the code, and it tell you everything about the United States, that they're a corporation, you know what I'm saying, everything. Everything is right there. They tell you, you know what I'm saying, in House Joint Resolution that there's no money, right? That they took that, right? They tell you about the bankruptcies, they tell you about all of that, so they're hypocrites, you know what I'm saying, and they're trying to take the resources and give it back to their lands to people who didn't have nothing, that come from the Gallops. And I'm saying that these people that come from the Gallops was the people who started the United States Society. They told them to come over here to the land and basically redeem themselves because they would have been in prison. Then they sent the lawyers over there to school them. You know what I mean? So these people were like peasant people who were murderers and hatred people. People who just did some crazy stuff, stealing and burning stuff, and just, every time you look around, they're fighting over property and all of that. When they got here, they started fighting over property. We're gonna go back to all of that. I'm gonna redo a lot of the literature. I got a lot of literature on my channel, but I'm gonna redo a lot of the literature and put some main topics up there. I'm not gonna stop. I'm gonna keep on going. But I'm gonna go ahead on and read as much as I could. yeah, I'm gonna go ahead on and read as much as I could right now and give you part two. You know, so let's do part two. All right. Ancient and modern jurisprudence. At this point, it may be necessary to expose some hidden history to some of the families who are or have been miseducated. Colonial socialization and economic conquest design made ignorant of the vast contributions made to the world by the Moors, their forefathers. The primes of law and government most definitely are no exceptions. It has been assumed ignorantly by many scholars teachers that the savagery displayed by many of the pale-skinned descendants of Britain who colonized the lands of the Asiatic/Africans of the world is representative of the ancient history of that land and its original people. Wrong. So in other words, that passage was basically saying that, you know, these people are not basically have nothing to do with Northwest Mexican in the ancient history of the African, Asiatic people of the world. They didn't write their history. They didn't build the pyramids. None of the monuments had nothing to do with the Aztecs, had nothing to do with the Mayans, had nothing to do with the tribes, had nothing to do with growing certain foods that was grew here, that had nothing to do with the Renaissance. None of that. Right? So these people are not ancient to nothing. European people are not ancient to nothing. They only came in and took and built on top of that and then transferred those resources and those assets and all of that bloodline inheritments to themselves. They wrote themselves into history to have a power and to have royalty, in other words. You know, you created royalty for yourself when you was a lower people, you know, and you come from within the anatomy of the Moabite woman, you know. So in other words, the Moors will be your big brothers and sisters, and you will be the babies who are in who have risen up over the original heirs who was in heirship of this whole land. And I'm talking about in the United States. And then, you know, we talking about other lands too, because we can go all the way back. You know, I'm saying in the United States right now, we talking about that. But these people were not ancient to nothing. You know, everything that they did, they took and they built on top of it, and then they erased the histories, burned those books, called those people something else, and then created a whole nother fictitious straw man entity for these people, so they can still ravage these people, do business with them, so they can succeed. And these people are a hybrid breed of people. And go look that up in your dictionary. Go look up the word hybrid. You know, these are the the words that y'all gotta go and check out. So this is basically saying that they're not ancient to nothing. You know what I'm saying? So it says that this is wrong for you to to say that. For you to say that you had anything to do with Egypt. All of those people going right now and digging up all of the tombs in Egypt and all of that. If they knew where that stuff was at and they had a part in it, they wouldn't have to find something that they already created or they already put there. They had no hand in building nothing in Egypt. You know what I'm saying? Considering that Egypt is in Africa. You know what I'm saying? They can't even stand in the sun too long. They stand in the sun too long, they get sick. You know what I mean? And and that's what it is. left on doing strenuous labor work. That's why they hired all the slaves, right? And enslaved all the people, right? And did all the things that they did because they could not handle the capacity of doing that strenuous labor work. Their body would not withstand it. You know what I'm saying? Their bodies are not cut out to do that work. You know what I'm saying? Especially in the heat and all this type of stuff. So they had slave people, you know what I'm saying, to do this. You know, like all of this stuff gonna come back on y'all. And when it do come back on y'all, you know what I mean, that's your karma. You know, and we got our karma. We got our karma from tampering with the DNA. That's our karma. Our karma is that we tamper with the DNA to create a being from an animalistic blood lineage, and also with the human anatomy blood lineage to create the hybrid being, which is the European. Most people may not think that's true, but if you go and you check the history, and you're going to see, I ain't talking about the Darwin theory. That's some foolishness. That's a lie. So that the Darwin theory and all of that is a lie. When they talk about we came from apes and no. Y'all came from Neanderthal and chimpanzee troglodyte DNA spliced with human DNA over there in those ancient pyramids in the Yucatan. That's what that is. That's ancient pyramids in the Yucatan where they was created. Basically ancient laboratories, right? So they're not ancient to anything. You know, all they do is just steal other people legacies and histories. And then they create histories, false histories, and then make these people believe that they are what they created. You know, it's a bunch of foolishness. So, you know, it is what it is. You know, but like I said, you know, you start leaning them up, going after those bonds, start suing these people, man. Sue them for whatever you can sue them for. Anytime they play with you, sue them. I don't care if they politicians, I don't care if they're lawyers, I don't care, sue them. Don't let them play with you, your life, your children, anybody around you, your people, your family, your blood anatomy. They play with y'all long enough. They're killing y'all every day in some form or matter, whether if it's through food or whether if it's through psyops or whether if it's through, you know, hiring other people to do these types of things that they're doing around the world. It's just sad, you know what I mean? And all of this is based on, they don't want you to know the truth. They don't want you to know that all of this reverts back to you once you wake up. The quote-unquote Asiatic man and woman. This is what this is about. So when Taj and all of them speak, what you think they're speaking about? They're speaking about your estate. They're speaking about your heterodynamis. They're speaking about your blood and what belongs to you. And the only way you can be identified is being in your proper status. That's just it. Prophets say the gold belongs to the people. But they can't get it until they identify who they are. Right? Let's continue reading. It has been assumed ignorantly by many scholars and teachers, the savagery displayed by many of the pale-skinned descendants, which we covered this part, of Britain, who colonized the lands of the Asiatics/Africans of the world and representative of the ancient history of that land and its original people. Wrong. Asiatic, specifically Moors, who have been referred to as Africans, were the early inhabitants of Britain. Check that out. So this book just told you that the Africans was the early inhabitants of Britain and were the true and original primogenitors of jurisprudence. Jurisprudence is from the old Moorish Latin word, right? Jurisprudenta. Juris and just meaning right law, a foreseeing knowledge and skill. Moors also penned the primal books on the subject matter and discipline of jurisprudence, which are now used universally. Jurisprudence is that science which treats of positive law and the philosophy of law, thusly, systems of law, and the study of and for the same are ancient. Right? So it's basically telling you that even the jurisprudence comes from the old Moorish Latin. So who wrote the Moorish Latin? The Moors. So the foundation of jurisprudence comes from our ancestors that they're teaching or that they're orchestrating today here in Amexem. The Europeans are using the jurisprudence against you, right? Right words, right law, that's what it means. Something that your forefathers created. But they know the teachings. They was taught. Right? Remember I told you, no matter what, they're part of your blood, so they're stepping and standing on this too. Right? Yes. Okay, so let's take our reading again. A reference point for Moors, Master Mason, Eastern Scholars, Neophyte, Raw, Adepts, Amanuensis, Masters, the Erudite, or Jurisprudent, etc. Research who the original Pits, the Moorish, who all those people are, the Danes, who are all those people, the Moors of Europe, etc. really were who they really were, right? So they're saying that these people that I just named, they were of the ancient nobles of England and Ireland and Scotland. All of these names are related to the Moors, right? The impacting consanguine facts about Moorish history and the true legacy of the jurisprudence have long been known by the scholars of the world. However, due to the Inquisition and the colonization of the Western Hemisphere, the history has been and is suppressed. Now, let us refer to some definitions of the term and the phrases of American and English jurisprudence, ancient and modern. Nationality defined and its legal status. Implications. Nationality is that quality which arises from the fact of a person belonging to a nation or state. Nationality determines the political status of the individual, especially with reference to allegiance, while the domicile determines one's civil status. Nationality arises either by birth or by naturalization. Anyone has just a minor level of knowledge of the contemporary history of North America cannot fail to recognize that persons who have borne the brand of Negroes, black and colored, etc., have traditionally suffered from status issues and the related economic and social problems emanating from the same. Prophet Noble Drew Ali introduced naturalization to the Moors of North America and instructed the Moors to go by and obey the laws of the federal, the state, and the government. This statement must be qualified by those who know law, due to the fact that many amongst the masses are lacking important details of civil liberties, knowledge, and of their alienable birthrights. During that time period within the Moorish movement, 1920, when the Prophet made the statement, the individual state of the United States of America were sovereign local state governments by the constitutional law and operated according to state constitution. No state constitution was at variance with the national constitution. The state and the federal both were to function with written delegated powers, limitations, according to the national constitution for the United States Republic. See Article 6 of the Constitution. And this is the supreme law of the land. Counter to the supreme law of the land, the form of governance for the United States Republic was under color change. This came about progressively after some deviant political acts took place. One of the deviant and negating political acts has come to being historically called the New Deal. These acts took place under the administration of Franklin D. Roosevelt in 1933. The date 1933 calculates 3 years and 8 months after the Prophet Noble Drew Ali veiled his form. That means he passed, right? July 1929 AD, shortly after, he received a 50-year mandate for the land. The mandate was confirmed when Noble Drew Ali was in Cuba at the 6th convention of the Pan-American Conference in 1928 AD, causing a major impact upon the wealth of North America, leading the New Deal in 1933 AD, which soon left the nation bankrupt. The Prophet Noble Drew Ali stated in the divine warning for the nation that the gold and the silver and the commerce belongs to the citizen alone, and without your national citizenship by name and principle, you have no true wealth. And I am hereby calling on all true citizens that stand for a national free government and enforcement of the Constitution to help me in my greatest missionary work. It is important to recognize that the Moorish traditions of instructions commanding the enforcement of the Constitution for the United States of North America and the territories under the jurisdiction of the United States for all Moorish Americans and citizens is paramount to understanding an important civil thrust of the Moorish movement in North America. In consideration and review of de facto actions taken by persons occupying seats of government related to the United States, it is important to observe some of the countermeasures instituted to thwart the progressive work of Noble Drew Ali. In the year 1933 AD, then the President Franklin D. Roosevelt, a master mason, declared the nation United States bankrupt and asked the Congress for the war powers. Under the War Powers Act, Roosevelt issued the Presidential Proclamation number 2039. This proclamation was issued March 6, 1933. President Roosevelt was inaugurated a president. Logically, this presented problems of unconstitutionality, and thus Proclamation number 2040 was issued March 9, 1933, after President Roosevelt took oath to the presidency. Thus, and upon the proclamation, martial law was instituted for the purpose of temporarily suspending all bank transactions and to create the guise of a suspended constitution. under the proclamation guise, writ of habeas corpus, could and would be abused by politicians and their franchise corporate state entities. This misuse of the war powers established protection for racketeering persons in government who were in opposition to the formerly secure rights of the people. The corporate state soon after, under the newly established color of law, adopted for themselves private law for their governance in opposition to the Constitution. These acts, in fact, were designed to neutralize the sovereignty of the natural people and to steal their birthrights, protections of the natural people, which was secured by the supreme law of the land, being the Constitution. This is why, in these days, the most ever occupational politicians of the state, the federal and the quasi-government agency and entities no longer refer to the United States as the Republic. With forms of government, it was confirmed as being within the context of the Constitution. See Article 4, Section 4 of the Constitution. We're going to stop it there. Y'all go back and listen to, part 2 of this. This is some real heavy stuff. This man, Roosevelt, he went in there and once Prophet Noble Drew Ali got the mandate, they already knew what he did, So they try to go in, underhand everything. That's what the proclamation number 2040 is about. Is basically him underhanding everything and getting access to the war powers to suspend basically the Constitution so they can take advantage of the people. This was done by Roosevelt. And this is what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? They know that this was a Republican form of government, and they instituted, they put in place their own government, which is a de facto government, right? Which is a patriarchal government, right? The former Republican government was a matriarchal government. You know what I'm saying? That's the reform. That's the real. This land and everything in this land was ran by women, females. The woman had to have the word on everything, right? Because all life comes through the female. Everything on this planet that comes to this land comes through a female. Every animal, every human being. These people are trying to take that and turn it around into a patriarchal government, and then now you see females with less rights and really don't have a position in government at this point. So they created certain policies and put certain policies which are private laws, you know what I'm saying, in place. You know what I'm saying? It contradicts the Constitution. Everything that Roosevelt did with this proclamation, it contradicts the Constitution. It cut the Constitution off from the people, so the people can be taken advantage of, which was the natural people, to steal their birthrights, right? That's why he did that. And all of that came from and spawned from Noble Drew Ali, what he did, right? So everything that they did was because of what Noble Drew Ali did when he ended up getting the mandate for the land. You know what I'm saying? From that sixth convention that he went to in Cuba, which is called the Pan American Conference in 1928, the sixth convention. So they had to counteract that, and this is what Roosevelt done to counteract that. So Prophet is telling you that he already, you know, or the Grand Sheik them that put this in, they're already telling you that this is what happened. This is what's taking place. And you know, it's amazing, and you know, this little bitty book can give you so much information. You know what I mean? It's up to you to really understand it. You know what I mean? If I did stumble over a few words or whatever, you know, forgive me. You know, I was just excited, you know, trying to, you know, put it together and give it to you. You know what I mean? I got a lot going on. But, you know, I have read this stuff over and over. You know what I mean? So what we're going to do is, you know, we're going to do part 3. I'm sorry to tell y'all that it's going to be a part 3. So you get this one, and then you'll get part 3 to finish off, and we'll close out the Moorish Divine and National Movement, forced to make changes. Also by Grand Sheik Nature Arabe and Grand Sheik Tarik Tarik. I'm sorry. But, you know, you're going to get that information, and, you know, check on these brothers, you know, tell them thank you for all that they're doing. You know, I thank the Grand Sheiks, you know, even in my meditation, you know what I mean? I think, you know, I thank the Prophet, I think, you know, everybody, you know, that enlightened me on my path and my journey, because I'm still learning. I'm still learning a lot. You know what I mean? It's a lot out there, you know, and I don't know everything, but I know what's going down, you know, far as, you know, my nationality and what's going down, and, you know, with the government and all of that. Now, anything else, you know, advanced, you know, super technology, alien terrestrial, you want to go there and all that, you know, I haven't, you know, covered all of that. But I believe that other entities outside of, you know, human life is real, and that there's life on other planets somewhere else and in the universe. Maybe I'll be able to come to a conclusion on that, and maybe drop a video on something, you know, dealing with extraterrestrial, you know what I mean? Because I really feel like we all extraterrestrial beings, because we're put here to perfect ourselves, to get back to where we was at, because we was locked out. So that means that if you're in the body, you locked out of spiritual contact, you know, as in, you know, because you wouldn't have came here, you would have probably been, you know, considered, you know, well, we all higher forms of being. We all a part of the Creator. So I can't say that either. You know what I mean? I can't say that, because we all come, you know, we all have a part of the Creator's energy, plasma, whatever you want to call it, that never perish. You know, and you know, it lives forever. So, you know, we just here to carry out the work, man. And you know, a prophet is a person who brings the message, you know, from, you know, from God, the Creator, you know what I mean, Allah, whoever you want to call it, you know, because everybody call it something different, you know what I mean, you know, to bring the message about, you know, straightening these people up. The wicked don't have no place in this thing, you know, and you know, you can't live forever, you know what I mean, but you shall get your karma, you know, you reap what you shall sow. So you better try to put some good seeds down. Y'all can see all the seeds on my channel. I never go into trying to, you know, hurt anybody. I just tell what I feel. You know, if you shocked by my words, you know, and you feel some type of way, or you hurt by my words, you know what I mean. It's just that you don't like the truth. You know. So, you know, some people, you know what I mean, like I said, you know, they you know, they hurt by us knowing what's going on. And me personally, you know, I'm tired of seeing y'all killing my people, all the way around the board. And the president is a hypocrite. You know what I'm saying? All these people that come in and run for office, these people hypocrites, man. They have no agenda for these people. They ain't doing nothing but trying to steal the wealth. That's it. That's it. Continue on doing what they're doing and what their ancestors been doing for years. Steal the wealth. They're not trying to help. You know what I'm saying? Quote unquote us. How they gonna help us? And they take and they took. They're taking all the resources. How some these people come and take your stuff and then try to turn around and then and try to help you. You know what I'm saying? Like, just imagine we woke up one day and it started annihilating, all people, slaving all people, you know what I'm saying, and doing all, that's just ridiculous. You know what I'm saying? But this is what's happening, in the world today. You know what I mean? And it's sad because, that those things are not of the Creator. You're supposed to help your brother, help your sister, pull them up. You know what I'm saying? But like I said, these people got what they got off of the things that they've been doing to us as a people. So enough is enough. So I'm gonna speak out. No matter what it is, and I'm gonna try to help my people. Catch up to speed on some information and learn about some things. For the ones who know and for the ones that don't know, I love you. I know it's hard. I know, you have a lot of questions you're asking yourself about, what your purpose is. And, I know Federal Reserve notes can't be the only motive in your life. You know what I'm saying? After your kids and after your, the Federal Reserve notes and trying to keep the lights on and keep something else and, keep food in the house or whatever, what's your motive after that? What motivates you after that? What's your purpose? After you done paid your bills, after you done went to work, after you done did all these different things, what is your motive after that? So please pass some comments, like, share, and subscribe to the channel. Trying to get more subscribers to the channel as well. People who good people, read a book, man. Sit down and read a book, find out what's going on. If you need some books to read, reach out to me. I'll send you some books to read. You know what I mean? I got all kind of books in the library. So reach out to me. And if you want to know truth, then, reach out to me. But if you about hatred and you about continuing on the same things that these Europeans running around here doing, thinking nobody don't know what's going down, and thinking that we don't understand politics, and thinking that we don't understand courts and judges and all of that, you got something else coming for you. We won't shut that shit down. You know what I'm saying? And y'all gonna end up getting sued and get leaned up, and we gonna go after those bonds. We know about your bonds. We know the bonds that you have. All y'all on Dun and Bradstreet. You know what I'm saying? We know how to shut you down. So in the end of the day, we're gonna start coming after you with the paperwork. I want to sue everybody. I'm not playing with you. I'm gonna sue the shit out you. I'm leaning you up. I'm going after everything. You know what I'm saying? And then I'm like an investigator. I'm like, I can find out anything about you. Anything. I don't give a shit who you are on the planet. I can find out anything about you. Period. So, in the end of the day, I'm going to help my people. This is the end of part 2 of Moorish Divine and National Movement, Forced to Make Changes. Y'all go ahead on and check out the material on the channel. I also dropped the Illuminati cards on the channel, so y'all can go through those and look at them and, make your comments on what you think that they're about. Because, like I said, they got to tell you everything before they, so they can't feel bad about doing what they're doing to you. So they're going to put it in front of your face. So I'm just a guide here to help, along with the rest of the brothers and sisters who are angelical beings, angels of light and angels, here to carry out Noble Drew Ali work, continue on carrying out his work, continue on loving the Prophet, continue on learning, what it takes to, to push our people as a nation. You need to get your nationalities. You need to get your status, in order. Contact me. I'll put you in, on the right path to get it done. It's going to take some work. It's going to take some study. I've been studying for years. I sit down and I studied. I studied for like 7 years straight. I'm talking about 7 years straight. I'm talking about no outside, none of that. None of the things I never was no person who went out too much and no clubs and all of that type of stuff. That never was my type of thing, you know what I'm saying? I always, from even, as young as I can remember, I always liked to read. I always read books, regardless to what it was, you know what I'm saying? I just had a talent, for reading and reading books. And, sometimes I'm at my best, sometimes I'm at my lowest, depending on what I got going on. But I always read books, you know what I'm saying, the right books. And like I said, I've been studying this straight for 7 years straight, nonstop, reading literature every day, all day, you know what I'm saying, throughout my day. I'll do some things, but I'm still reading literature every day when it comes down to the Moorish movement. So, and not just that, you know what I mean, every book, you know what I mean, we archive in the library. So, we could touch on those different topics. But go back and check out part 1. This is part 2. I'm Maurice Bay, and I'm out.